Hi 106, this is it. We've made it to week 15. Week 15 is our last week of class and it's also exam 3. Please remember that exam 3 is the last thing that you are responsible for this class. There is nothing finals week. You do have until the last day of finals at 5 p.m. to submit exam 3. So this week 15, I am pulling from some of the work that we did last week in Unit 12, and then some of it is new material in Unit 13. So on the board here, I have written out, this is also on Canvas, you can pull it up under the weekly home assignments. This is what you should be working on in week 15. And I've also listed specifically here the 4 items that will be part of exam 3. Exam 3 is a total plain exam. You can submit it all in one file, individual files, you can send them at separate times. So what you should be working on this week is in Unit 12, we are using as our repertoire piece Minuet in F on page 160. So we're going to look at that in a few minutes. Harmonization, I've given you 4 choices, so you can pick what your favorite style is that we've worked on this semester. So your choices are Silent Night on 166 with a broken bass, Dona Nobis Pacem, which is two-handed, again meaning you do not play the melody, on 177, Lullaby with a waltz bass on 179, or a block chord bass on Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Seen on 179. In this video, we will also take a short look at each of those. The third item for exam 3 is technique. Similar to exam 2, you need to pick 1 white key tonic and 1 black key tonic. With each of those tonics, I want to hear a major scale, 2 octaves, hands together, correct fingering. Major arpeggio, 2 octaves, hands together, correct fingering. Chord sequence of 1, 4, 6, 4, 1, 5, 6, 5, 1. So thinking about this black key tonic, we've only covered 2 black keys, F sharp, G flat, or C sharp, D flat. So your black key tonic needs to be your choice of one of those. White key, you have a choice of C, G, D, A, E, B, or F. Those are the keys we've covered here in 106. The last item will be sight reading. The sight reading will be posted underneath this week. It'll say sight reading for exam 3. It'll be a PDF. I will post it on December 7th so that everybody has the same amount of time with it. But for now, a good place to practice would be in Unit 13 on pages 174 and 175. So let's take a closer look at all of this material. So looking in Unit 12, Minuet in F is your repertoire piece you should be working on, also the requirement for the exam. So think about all the things we've talked about when you're working on a longer piece. You can see that it's in binary form. That's not surprising since it's a minuet. So it would make sense for me to concentrate on the A section and then concentrate on the B section. As I'm looking at my left hand, I'm working in the key of F. I'm hoping that you're reading this as part of chord structure. Yes, you could read as thirds and thirds, but it'd be even more efficient to see this as the bottom half of a 1, the top half of a 4, bottom half of a 1. When you're putting your right hand together, make sure that you watch where it's starting. It might not necessarily be laying right in the bottom of F going ascending in the scale. This one's actually starting at the top of the scale and coming down. Your editor here has given you some very good fingerings that I would suggest you follow. As you play through that right hand melody, I'm going to be watching for all these articulations that we have been putting into our playing this semester. So nice 2-note slurs, staccatos, lifting at the end of phrases, making sure you have your B flat in your key signature, repeat can be your choice whether or not you want to add that. When you add the left hand to simplify the coordination, try adding a chord just on 1 beat. You could even simplify it and put it on beat 1 so that you're getting used to the sound and feeling the shape of that chord that you're using. Then you could put it into just a 2nd beat and eventually filling in those beats. When you go to the second section, thinking about what you know with binary form, knowing that binary form is going to have a secondary key level when it starts the B section, usually the dominant, and is indeed doing that. You're moving and working around the key of C. Watch your registers here, watch your articulations. You've got some great echo dynamics that I expect to hear, and then you've got a little bit a tag of that A theme again. So minuet and F on 160. When you are choosing your harmonization, one of your choices can be Silent Night here on 166. So with Silent Night, I'm going to expect 1 chord per measure based on your meter. You can go through and write in your harmonization based on your key. When you learn it, I would suggest learning the melody first. Then I would take my chord structure that I've come up with and I would practice it blocked first, double checking that the chord I've chosen, that note is indeed found in the melody. You can use inversions, you can use 5/7s, you can use regular 5s. Once you've figured it out that way, the requirement for the exam, if this is your choice, is a broken bass. So root, third, fifth. You do not need to transpose. Your second choice is Donis Nobis Pacem, and it's on 177. This is a two-handed example, so if you've really enjoyed two-handed, perhaps this is the example that you want to work in. So remember, you are not playing that top line. It can be sung, it can be played, it can be silent if you're taking a metronome and making sure that you're steady, or if you prefer to do your exam live, I'm happy to play it with you too. So this suggestion here is a broken chord bass, but you could also do a waltz bass with it since it's a 3/4 meter. So figure this out the same way that we've done our other two-handed. I would go through with my chords first. I would figure them out blocked. You should have a single grit in your left hand and the full chord in your right hand. Once you've figured out your chord pattern, then you can decide if you want to follow their style, which would be a modified broken bass, or if you'd like to do a waltz bass, that would also work with this meter. If you turn the page, your last two choices are lullaby. Lullaby is that exact same waltz bass that we just talked about, except for here it's a one-handed, which means melody's playing, or excuse me, right hand's playing your melody here, left hand is doing the bass. The last choice is Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Seen. You may do block chords on here. Please notice that both in Lullaby and Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Seen, you have requests for inversions. Here's what that looks like with the tablature. So go back, ask for another explanation if you've forgotten what that means. Here they're doing it with that Arabic numbers telling you the inversion. So remember 464 is asking you for that second inversion. So these do need to be in inversions when requested. If they're giving you just a root and a quality, then it's your choice how you want to voice that. With Nobody Knows the Trouble I've Seen, please make sure you've got the appropriate number of chords based on the time signature. With all of your harmonization, other than the two-handed, make sure that your right hand is in the correct register. Remember that your left hand has free rein where it wants to go. Technique, as I said, you need a black key tonic and a white key tonic. So if I chose F sharp for my black key, I am expecting to hear a two major octave scale. A 2-octave major arpeggio. And a chord sequence of both hands, major 1, 4, 6, 4, 1, 5, 6, 5, 1. The last item is sight reading. So this is putting together everything that we've worked on this semester. And the sight reading, as I said at the beginning of this video, will be posted on December 7th as a PDF underneath week 15. In anticipation and in class, we will be using pages 174 and 175 for our sight reading practice. You can expect your sight reading to be using intervals, be using chords that I'm expecting you to be able to identify visually to help you with your reading. There'll be a variety of key signatures, a variety of time signatures. So in your class period, will spend quite a bit of time putting an example of sight reading on the board that you have not seen before and talking about, when I see that example, how can I work through it visually so that when I have limited time to play through it orally, I can be as efficient and as effective as possible. When you're setting up your sight reading, I would recommend playing a scale and a chord pattern to get your ear in that key. Those are the 4 things that are all on this exam 3 for 106. And you have until the Friday of finals week at 5 p.m. That is when the course then will be closed. Please bring your questions to your class period. If you'd like extra help beyond your assigned class period, please get in touch. I'd be happy to meet with you and go over any of these items again or help you perfect them to the point where you feel comfortable. It's been a great semester. I look forward to hearing your work on exam 3.